Hi friends, I am here starting a sort of a vlog of sorts, a video vlog, is that what it's called? For my time in Poland, there were enough people who were like, please keep me updated. And I was like, well, this is how that's coming out of me creatively. I need to make something. And that's what's happening. I like to take little videos and record little sounds. And I'm curious to know what it's going to be like to make this and how it's going to show up and come out of me and how other people digest it, because this is how I'm digesting my life right now. So, that being said, I'm making little themes for everyone. It's been about a month since I've been here. I'm going to tell you a few stories, some things that I've really latched onto, what I'm kind of thinking of, where my brain is at, what's happening inside my body, and everything else that comes with this insane journey that I'm on. And I've taken some videos of some things that I've seen, I've taken some audio recordings, and I hope that if you choose to watch this, you can enjoy the little things that I've taken and put out there, or feel free to just pop your earbuds in and like listen to this while you are doing the dishes, or just having a few moments alone to yourself and just listening and not expected to do much of anything. You could put this on and not listen to it. I won't know, and I also don't really care, because this is more for me than it is for you. That being said, I guess this is the intro to my video, my little vlog. I am going to start it now, and we're talking about snails. So get ready to think about life and think about snails. Okay. And just to start us off, the background music that you're listening to is from a jazz show that I went to recently over the past weekend. The pianist is Emmet Cohen. The person who is playing what they called a baby bass at this show is Phillip Norris, and the percussionist, person on drums, is Poole. All of which I will put more information on in the description, because they're really good at what they do, and I enjoyed listening to them, so you should too. Thanks. Okay, let's start this thing. Hi, friends. I have been in Poland for a month-ish now, maybe give or take a few days, and it has been a lot, to say the least. It's been a lot of being uncomfortable, a lot of newness, a lot of things I did not expect, and it's just been a time so far, I would say. I'm not exactly having fun yet, but I think I'm definitely starting to settle in a bit after 30 days of kind of getting my bearings and figuring out what's happening, and taking more language courses and getting out to the grocery store more often, and going to the library, and going to a new park for the first time, and very, very, very slowly making my way out there. That being said, I've found the most comfort in making this. I think making this and painting and finding a routine in my life and focusing on my home inside of myself and my flat and with my pets. It has been such an, I'm going to say it again, uncomfortable experience to choose to leave all of the things that I cherish in the home that I had in Pittsburgh and be so far away from friends and family without really being able to talk to anyone, because everyone I love is asleep until well into the afternoon, just because of the time change. So, all of that said, it's been nice to take things slow and focus on self compassion that I have for myself. And I will say I found a little bit of joy in looking for tiny little synchronicities and signs and the the little things that kind of add up over time that I'm familiar with and evoke the same feeling. And I think in a way that's let me follow my intuition and my gut, which is really what I followed here. And if we're being honest, I think for some reason snails have been a really big part of that. And that's kind of why this is going to be all about how to be a snail, because I feel like that's really what I've been trying to learn and instill in myself in the past 30 some days since I've been here. And that is not something that I just decided one day. It's built up over time that I've accumulated, and every time they've almost been thrown in my face or on my path, that I've very much heard the universe and been like, okay, snails, it's snails. Let's look at snails. I believe that. That sounds actually kind of fun and magical, and I'll say yes to that because why not? There's nothing wrong with snails. To start, I will say that I did follow snails all the way from America, the States, all the way here. I got a tattoo of one just a few weeks before I left, and I had no idea that they would become a thing when I got over here, but that was just because I really liked snails. I thought they were really cute. I liked the little shells, the circular pattern on them, the speed in which they take life. I always thought that they were just so determined and just nice and gentle creatures. I love the way that their eyes stretch up way over their head, over their shell, and then just kind of curl back in to their whole bodies when they come across something new. And I think that motion in particular of coming back into yourself when you find something unfamiliar has been a great metaphor for life so far when I'm over here. I've really resonated with that a lot. And that is something that I'm sort of coming into and practicing in how to be a snail. I'll say that the second day I got here, I noticed an abundance of snails almost thrown in front of me. I was walking on the sidewalk and almost stepped on one and was a little shocked because I've never seen a snail in an urban area like that, much less out in the wild as much. So it was a fun little surprise at first. And then when I got to keep walking, I realized that there were so many snails on the sidewalk that when I got home, I did in fact go online and Google, why are there so many snails in Poland? And I was a little disheartened in finding out that nobody else is thinking the same thing. Nobody else is Googling that. It did not come up in the popular search results, which I think something's wrong there because there's no way nobody else has come here, seen the snails, and tried to look it up. Anyways, what I did find online was that snails apparently have 12,000 teeth, all located on their tongue. And if your brain is like mine, you are now picturing your tongue covered in teeth, and it feels heavy, and it's making me question where your taste buds are, if they're covering the roof of your mouth and your gums, and it's just you've switched your taste buds with your teeth type of situation. And what's the dental economy in snails? If you're a dentist, you must be making mad money. That's insane. Like, good for you, go get it. But also just really glad to be a human in this moment. I'll keep however many teeth I have in my mouth now. I think it's a great amount. Glad I'm not a snail in that regard. A wonderful sign that everything in our reality is made exactly as it should be, teeth included. My encounter with snails on the sidewalk was not the last time that I came across snails. And the second time was one of the first times I went into the grocery store. I did find and lock eyes, I will say, with a beer that had a snail on the label and written in Polish, roughly translated to English. The beer said, "Day off." And I was like, hey, this also feels right. There is something about snails and going slow that I think I really need to lean into right now. So I started thinking about how or what qualities snails have. I think the two that come to mind are patience and determination, which really relate back to that metaphor for life of experiencing something new and being uncomfortable and retreating back into your shell or your home. Snails grow with their shell their entire life and it changes with them. And I think that's also really applicable to our lives and how our home changes and grows with us, and how our home is essentially carried on our backs no matter we are, and how we really have ourselves at the end of the day and what we've built for ourselves and our shell. I think the idea of going outside, experiencing newness, and needing to come back in and sit with it is the epitome of how I felt here so far. I've spent a lot of time inside of my apartment, in my flat. I've been painting, making watercolors, some drawings. I'll post pictures of that in this video just so you can get a glimpse of like what I've been working on and what I've been doing. It's helped me really focus on setting up a routine, because that's the only thing that's not going to be new for me here. I mean, even the comforts of going to the grocery store and knowing exactly what I'm buying is gone because I can't read Polish. So when I'm looking at ingredients and I'm like, cool, I'm actually not even really sure what I'm eating or putting into my body. And they do have a system where some of the food is graded based on a health scale. So I'll usually go for an A or a B. And A is difficult to find. So I've mainly been eating Bs. But what is a B? I don't know. I couldn't tell you because, quite frankly, I haven't looked it up. I haven't done the extra research. That's been too overwhelming to do. I digress. I'm getting off track. Just those small things that I really found comfort in at home, I no longer have anymore. So a lot of my effort has gone into my home life and building that routine and finding control and just making things, this included. And doing that and focusing in that way has helped me gain the determination, I'll say, to go outside again and go to a new park or go to an event. I went to the jazz club last week, and that was a lot of fun. And I think it was the most familiar experience I've had outside of my apartment so far, just because it was being with a lot of people who had gone to something for the same reason. And even though I couldn't talk to anyone there, it's been better. And focusing on my little shell has helped me have the patience and determination to keeping on in my little journey, just like a snail does. And I will say that the snail synchronicities did not stop at the sidewalk or the grocery store. They grew into my ceramics class that I took, which I signed up for because it was in English, and I was so excited to yap again and talk to someone and make some friends, and I was all geared up to go. And I got there, and there's one other girl in the class, and she does not speak English. The teacher let me know that she had signed up on accident, and I was like, that's fine. So I did talk to the teacher a little bit, and got some comfort there. And she asked, oh, what do you want to make today? And I haven't touched ceramics at all. I've never touched clay. And I asked if it was okay if I made a snail because clearly that's what life wants me to focus on. So why wouldn't I try to form it physically in my hands to kind of get a better understanding of this snail way of life? And the teacher kind of giggled at me and gave a little laugh, and she had mentioned that she actually had two pet snails at home, and I found that pretty funny because of course she does, and it just felt like another way for the universe to say, hey, you're doing great, keep on going. I know this isn't what you wanted it to be and you want to make friends, but you're in the exact right place at the exact right time, and you go, snail girl, you go. Keep going slow, keeping patient, keeping determined. And talking to the teacher a little more, she let me know that she had some other students in other classes that spoke English, and she would gladly pass along my information to them to see if they wanted to hang out. And I said, yes, please. Yes, please. I need some friends. So the next time I see a snail on the sidewalk, which is not few and far between. And I will say there are slugs here too. And I think they're allowed to be worked into this metaphor theory that I'm building with my words because they're also slow. I feel like snails and slugs are in the same family. They're distantly related cousins. Don't fact check this. I have no idea. But to me, a slug is just a snail that has decided to leave its backpack at home and is like, I don't need to take all that with me, but it's great that you do, but I don't really need to. And if we're speaking, honestly here, slugs are really much more fearless than snails because they have no protection. And have I seen slugs here that have just been obliterated? Yes. And it's not something I wish on anyone else to see. And I hope that their families don't find them like that in the streets. What was I talking about? Snails. Right. The beauty of our ability as humans to feel tenderness and sensitivity to everything around you when it's new, and being able to curl back into yourself and then be patient and show yourself a lot of self-care and self-compassion while you work with the courage to face that determination head on and get back out there and move just a little further, even if it's just an inch, before retreating back into your shell for an hour or two or just a few moments to come back out again. It feels like a very healthy pattern for me to have right now, in a way. This circular notion of going in to go back out, the constant curling up and unfurling into just a little bit of newness, almost in the same circular pattern as a snail's shell, I might say. So, is there meaning in that? I think so. And am I always right? Yes. I think that all of this being said, and my self theory on how to be a snail is really reflective of how I'm trying to live my life right now and take things slow, even though everything inside of me wants me to go fast. It wants me to immediately have friends here, immediately have a social life, immediately know where all the things, the food, all the good restaurants are that I want to eat. It wants me to immediately know where to get things, how to order things online, how to navigate the healthcare system, which did come pretty fast and quickly, I will say, in the experience. The second or third week I was here, I got shingles because that's how stressed I was, which was insane. And I very quickly had to learn how to navigate the healthcare system. And let me tell you, it is wonderful. It is affordable. It is a quick entry. It is easy to find a doctor. The language barrier is probably the hardest part of it, but walking out of the doctor's office with a prescription down half a block and immediately going to the apteka, the pharmacy here, and having it filled and cost next to nothing was a fantastic experience. And it made me feel able to carry the weight that I've had to here. And I can't imagine coming to a place like America and having that happen and needing to pay an arm and a leg for healthcare and the wait times as a new patient and everything else. So that I am so, so grateful for. And in that way, it has impacted how I view life here. And part of the reason I moved here is because I had the feeling that it was going to be easier. And although I will say in a lot of ways that is not true yet, in more of the foundational ways, it is. The bikeability, the walkability, the ease in public transit navigating, and reliability and healthcare has been so, so nice. And it's allowed me a space that I can be a snail and go slow and exist as a human with all of the contradictions that exist within myself, and realizing that I'm doing a crazy thing and decided to move to a new country where I don't speak the language and I don't know anyone here, and also knowing that that's okay with me and letting those contradictions exist within me and spending time again in my shell and in my home and just being able to be myself has been such a gift. And I think that's also kind of what this is. It's a little fun exploration of digesting how this trip is going so far, a month in, and a good amount of my friends asked for updates, and that's how this is coming out of me. This is how I'm digesting my experience, and I'm curious how you are going to digest it as well, and how you are going to reflect on listening to all of this short little podcast series that I'm starting. But I'm very curious to see how my time here is going to sort of redefine me, not only in what I produce physically, but also my internal monologue. And I think this first notion of being a snail is really allowing me the patience and determination to keep making things, and to kind of be more of myself, which is really all that I've wanted and what I've really strived to do, because that for some reason has been very difficult for me over my life. And I'm not, I mean, I could tell you why, but that's another episode. I think I just want to make stuff, and that really resonates with me. And the ability to go slow and not have everything set up has allowed for the space to just say, hey, what if we just focused on being here now, which is what this is. I am here at this table speaking, existing in this moment, not in a phone or a digital world, or existing in my mind in either the future or the past. And I think that's why I like making stuff, and I hope it helps other people too become more of themselves, because quite frankly, nobody else is going to do that for you. You are the only one who can be more of you, because you're the only one of you that exists, if that makes sense. And that's an authenticity that I would love to follow to the end of time. But also, life is inherently meaningless. Ending on a fun note here. So, do whatever you want. Have fun, be yourself. Do snails have a purpose in their journey? I have yet to follow one to wherever it's going because I I don't have the time for that. I'm going slow, but I can't go that slow. I don't know if you've seen a snail recently, but when you do, it will blow you out of the water because no matter how slow you thought it was going, I promise it's going 1,000 times slower than you initially thought. The videos that I'm putting in here of snails are time lapses and sped up. They're not going that fast. No, that'd be insane. They're so slow. And where was I going with this? Snails aren't getting speeding tickets anytime soon. Do they have a purpose in their journey? That's what I was thinking of. I don't know. And I don't think snails know either. But I just think it's so nice that even though they don't have a purpose or maybe an end goal to get to, they just keep going because they could totally rock around in their shell all day, and yet they still choose to cross the sidewalk with feet and paws and rain and weather and all the other stuff that comes with that, and they just right back into their shells whenever they need a moment, and then they come right back out. I think overall, my theory on how to be a snail and the point of this video is to just enjoy myself and find little moments of play while I'm here and to try to make sense of everything that I got going up in that little brain. And is that a byproduct of the art therapy that I've been going to over the past 7 years? Probably. But has it helped me enormously? Yes. And I'm having fun and being myself, and I hope you do too. So, thank you for following along. I hope you enjoyed, if you were looking at the screen, the little videos I've taken since I've been here. I know it's not a whole lot, mainly because I've been in my apartment. I have been in my flat. I have been scared to go outside, and when I do, I've really been pushing myself to. And I know that it's just going to get better and I'm going to meet more people, but I've also really appreciated learning about how to be a snail, and I hope you have too. Okay. Thanks, friends. I'll talk to you later. Bye.